Tim was talking about how Northwestern doesn't always do anything, a bunch of stuff differently every week, but they kind of give you a flavor every week.
They do.
And was that a matter of just having time to adjust to that before your unit could really start playing the way you wanted to play?
Yeah, we talked obviously as a staff, and you try and figure out the slow start, because really it was for us defensively, haven't really had one of those kind of lulls like that this season, and so it was really frustrating to kind of watch it happen and then try and stop it while it was happening, and then go back and evaluate why we thought it happened. So I felt like that, and we told our guys we knew they were going to give us some different things that you have to prepare for on the run, and I think that the second touchdown especially was frustrating because it really was just a basic concept that we just had bad eyes. One of our safeties, just really should have been right there. Really shouldn't have been he wasn't put in conflict, I guess that's the bottom line. So, to me, I think once you get, anytime you play tempo teams, I feel like that's always they can kind of challenge you with that, going fast and a lot of formations, and when they spread you out horizontally with empties, I think that always creates a little bit of tension for sure. And they did a couple of different, but really, I think the run game was probably a little more new things than we saw than in the past game, So like the first third down, we were calling it out, and then two of our guys ran into each other, and because one of the guys didn't do his job. He was supposed to be rushing the passer, and he dropped and ran into the DB. So really wasn't anything in the pass game I didn't think that we, weren't ready for. But you mix it in with tempo, and then you give up an opening drive, and then you're back out there right away. Again, really don't have a ton of time to get things corrected after that first series, and then before you know it, you're down by 2. So I just felt like that combination of, and I'll just say this, I felt like that I probably over-schemed a little, and I told our players that, I'm going to own up to that, and felt like that tried to maybe have too many little answers, and didn't let our guys just play as fast and as free as I want them to. And so we kind of made some of those in-game adjustments, and after that, when we went down by 3 scores, after that, it really played pretty well, and obviously finished out the half on a couple really, really big stops. Goal line stand was huge just to try and prevent. We kind of just stopped the bleeding, to give us an opportunity in the second half, and then, just further made some things adjusted and at halftime, and I was really pleased with how they responded, because that's a great test to their character, their toughness, their belief, and really played a phenomenal second half.
I'm sure one thing you were probably still disappointed about was the lack of takeaways.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's one thing not to get them. That's frustrating because we make such a big deal about it. But to have opportunities and to not finish, that's really, to me, is, it's sickening, because that is our mantra, and it's never going to change. And I keep saying it, and you're going to hear it's takeaways, it's tackling, and it's effort. And that's who we are as a defense. And as a group, we tackled pretty well. We had one individual that struggled, who missed 4 himself, and we've already talked to him about that and get that fixed. But the takeaways piece, 3 dropped interceptions, and to me, those were, one of them would have been a real good catch, but they're all right there with their hands on them. 2 of them to me were just, inexcusable, and I don't take those lightly with our guys, and because to me, those are opportunities that you don't get back, and that changes the game. It changes everything. Obviously, there were 10 points that we lost because of not getting those directly, and you never know what it's going to do for us. The field position, the momentum, just the psyche that it creates. So, we have to do that now. So we went back and we were on the judge machines again this morning, and just trying to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure our guys, are number 1 in position. And then number 2, they got to finish, So, yeah, you put those 2 together, it's frustrating. But to me, the key is learn from it, figure out why, get it fixed, and press on.
Maryland's got 2 running backs averaging a lot of yards per carry. Perry Hills can run the ball, too. What do you see from them?
First of all, very well coached. They play extremely hard, really confident. They might have had their best game, even though statistically they didn't have as many yards against Michigan State, but just when you look at the game and you watch the game, as we were coming home, and just how they played as a team, and anytime you can run the football, which they have, and there's been some games where they've had some really ridiculous numbers in rushing, and so they've done a great job there with the run game and established that, and they've got a lot of weapons. They got all those running backs you just mentioned, and you can just kind of rotate them in. It really doesn't matter. And the quarterbacks, both of them are athletic enough to run the football, and so that's what they do. And they do a great job of stretching you horizontally, and then they try and get you vertically with the passing game, and then obviously the interior runs. And so schematically, they've done a great job, and they will isolate you, and they will force you to tackle in space, which is really pretty much today's game. And so we are obviously, as a defensive scheme, kind of built in this regard, but so we don't have to change what we do in terms of major changes to be able to fit things. But getting those guys on the ground is a whole different story, and they make a lot of guys miss. They make a lot of good defenders miss on film, run extremely hard, and they'll make us have to be at our very best.
The sense to get this turned around now, how great is it? Not that you don't want to win every game, obviously, but this is such a huge game to stop losing.
I agree, and I think that it's a sense of urgency that you want in your team every week. But obviously, our guys understand, as the season ticks along, and the opportunities diminish, each one becomes bigger in my mind. And no matter what has happened in the past, and so we're only given so many opportunities as a coach, as a player, each year that we're given on our schedule. And right now we have 5 more of those, and we have to make them count. So there's no question the sense of urgency is high, and that should be that way. And I sensed it from our guys today, from our coaching staff, and we understand that. And so we obviously worked extremely hard every single week, and that doesn't change. But I've challenged our guys about picking one thing that they're going to do as coaches, as players, that they're going to isolate on to be able to elevate their game this week in their preparation. And I fully expect us to be ready to play when that opening whistle sounds.
Coach Wilson was saying that while it was nice to see Miles surface a little bit last week, he said he's been a bit of an inconsistent practice player, I guess, in his time here. Are you starting to see maybe putting it together during the week?
Well, he sure did on Saturday, and that to me was encouraging. But I will say, as Coach has mentioned prior, and I mentioned before myself, that I felt like the talent was there. It's the consistent preparation that creates a consistent performance. And so without a question in my mind, he played his best game of the season since I've been here with him. And so I was very proud of him for that. But along the heels of that came, hey, you've put on film now what I believed you had in you all along. And so we have to now practice at a higher level in order to get that again and again and again. Because to me, it's about consistent performance. And that's what the great teams do. That's what the great defenses do. That's what great players do. And we have to be able to count on you. And we can count on you when we know what we're going to get. And so that's the consistency piece. And so really proud of him for how hard he played. And he made some big plays for us. But I believe he has it in him. And we have certain guys that we've challenged all along to try. Those guys in that second group have got to rise up. And really, I thought Damian Willis, another one, that was a guy that has been a number 2 that really rose up and made some plays for us to give us a great, break for Marcus. We put him in there and did a great job. And Michael Barwick, same thing. Had a big sack and just played so hard. Guys like that we've needed to elevate their game as a 2 or whatever you want to call them. They're starters to me when you play. If you're going to play in the game, then you got to have a starter mentality. And so he had a chance to get in there and made the most of it. So really proud of those guys, and that has to continue.